the same street about 4 hours before Swart was murdered.
2 vehicles were seen in the CCTV cameras. And then one of those vehicles was a Hyundai, the same Hyundai that now is being recovered. And then we were told that this vehicle was driving around the crime scene, making turns with the Mercedes-Benz that was later recovered.
The DA has filed an ethics complaint against Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe for allegedly misleading Parliament. Tolashe appeared before the Portfolio Committee earlier this month to explain a number of employment matters, including that of the department's Director General Peter Netshipale, who appeared alongside her. But Netshipale is now facing disciplinary action, prompting the DA's Alexandra Abrahams to believe that Tolashe's responses were contradictory and should be probed by Parliament's Ethics Committee. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
During her last appearance before Parliament, Minister Sisisi Tolashe explained that previous written information provided to Parliament about the employment contract of the Director General, Peter Netshipale, was an inadvertent and clerical error, and that Cabinet only approved his appointment for a year and not 5 years. Since then, disciplinary steps have been taken against Netshipale, who is facing 3 charges, including possible dishonesty for signing a 5-year contract. But DA spokesperson for Social Development, Alexandra Abrams, believes it's Tolashe who has been dishonest, providing conflicting information to Parliament since the party began probing whether Netshipale's appointment has been irregular.
The minister has violated the Code of Ethical Conduct and is not fit to hold a position and should be removed.
Abrams has also written to the chairperson of Parliament's Portfolio Committee to insist that Tolashe once again appears before it to explain why the disciplinary action taken against Netshipale appears to contradict the explanation given to the committee. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
An ultra-marathon runner who came all the way from Japan to take part in the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon says he's disappointed the race was cancelled, but there will be more marathons to run. About 24,000 runners received messages from the race organisers early on Sunday morning saying the race had been cancelled. Organisers had spent the night trying to mitigate howling winds, which damaged the race village and parts of the route before making a decision to call off the event. Japanese runner Roy Gomizawa says he was looking forward to testing his strength and stamina on the Cape Town course. Gomizawa says he won't be deterred and will be back next year.
You can always look for tomorrow or next time that the Cape Town Marathon will happen again. So everybody should look forward for the future.
And further afield, 10 South Koreans have been arrested in Cambodia for their alleged involvement in cyber scams. The latest arrests come days after dozens accused of working in the vast fraud operation were repatriated. Cambodia sent home 64 South Korean nationals who had been held for their alleged links to the scams. The repatriated individuals have been implicated in crimes like voice phishing, romance scams, and so-called no-show fraud schemes. According to the Foreign Ministry, about 550 South Koreans had been reported missing or held against their will after entering Cambodia since last year. Gold is trading at $4,252.84 an ounce. The rand is at 17.31 to the dollar, 23.25 to the pound, 20.18 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.05 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're traveling towards Midrand, leaving Alex, there's those roadworks on the N3 northbound. This is between the Marlborough off-ramp and the Patloo interchange. Causing heavy delays. There's also slow-moving traffic heading into Bedfordview on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gululis interchange. And if you're leaving the Joburg CBD, expect some delays. M2 westbound between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road.
It's a cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 16 and 18 degrees, while Cape Town is fine today with a fresh southeasterly wind at a high of 29. The top story in EWN this hour, rescue divers are gearing up for the next round of search efforts at the Western Dam in Johannesburg, where they are searching for a missing person.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, Witness A appears before the Madlanga inquiry. Kat Matlala appeals his bail decision in court. Auditor Mpho Mafole was working on a report about a chemical toilet tender in Ekurhuleni when he was killed. The Youth League wants ANC succession race to be uncontested, and we'll wrap up the weekend sport. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good to be with you today. We'll take you to the Madlanga inquiry shortly. Witness A is testifying. Witness B and C also due before the inquiry this week. We'll also talk about a new proposal from the Democratic Alliance, an alternative to BEE. So they're proposing the Economic Inclusion for All bill, which seeks to amend the Public Procurement Act of 2024 to repeal all race-based preferential procurement provisions and other reforms as well. So it's an alternative model that they're putting forward. We will speak to Matt Cuthbert, the DA head of policy, in the show today. Send me a WhatsApp voice note 072 702 1702 072 567 1567. We also found out what's going on with the weather in Gauteng. Cape Town, of course, the Cape Town Marathon being cancelled yesterday because of the wind. So we'll speak to the weather service a bit later on in the show. Let's start with the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, resuming today with partial in-camera hearings at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria. And this is like cloak and dagger stuff where you have witness A, witness B, witness C. They are giving evidence from a safe house. Their faces are not being shown. So this is really the stuff of crime novels that we're living in reality. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, joining us in our Joburg studio now. Oren, witness A, what do we know about witness A that's testifying today?
Well, Mandy, Witness A is a member of organised crime in Gauteng, previously attached to the Trio Task Team in Soweto, has done a lot of work behind the scenes, a detective, but very instrumental in unraveling the syndicate that has been behind the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Swart, as we recall, was murdered outside his company, Gates Q-Tech in Vereniging last year on the 17th of April, and basically going through the evidence. And I must say, Mandy, the evidence that has been provided is crucial. We've been calling for evidence, and the evidence we're seeing being provided by Witness A, this detective today, is really prevalent stuff. We've got screen grabs from CCTV camera footage of Swart's murder. We're looking at the vehicles that were used and how they link these vehicles to the suspects that have been arrested in the murder case of Swart, with the mastermind being Katiso Katie Molefe. And we're seeing how they've linked all the people arrested in Swart's murder so far to this crime via the evidence that they've had. I think in one of the instances, he spoke to how in one of the vehicles, they found cartridges that were used on the morning when they murdered Swart using a rifle. About 16 cartridges are found placed in a bag, suggesting that the people who pulled the trigger in killing Swart ran out the vehicle and collected all the gun cartridges, so there'd be no evidence at the crime scene. And that's the clip you'll hear now.
Did they explain, or did he explain why the brother would have collected these and placed them in a plastic bag?
No, Commissioner, he failed to explain that part of the question because we did ask him. He failed. Totally failed.
Is it so that empty cartridges are found after a firearm has been fired? They fall off. As you fire, an empty cartridge falls off. Is that not so?
That is correct. That's what I understand with the firearms. If you fire, then the cartridge will fall off the ground.
So for cartridges to be found, collected and placed in a plastic bag, it would mean that someone must have picked up those empty cartridges and placed them in the plastic bag.
That is correct, Your Worship. That is what we concluded. We thought that it means someone collected these cartridges from the crime scene, maybe for the purposes to dispose of them.
Oren, remind us why the Armand Swart murder is important when it comes to police capture, which is what the inquiry is looking at.
Essentially, Armand Swart, Mandy, was an employee of QTech who was killed in a case of mistaken identity. So what happened was QTech was a service provider, and someone had, from the company, an employee, had flagged corruption on a massive scale within Transnet, and this amounted to millions of rands in corruption, and had reported this corruption to a hotline. This then filters its way down to those who might be involved in this Transnet tender, and essentially they order a hit on the person who went and reported this to the whistleblower hotline, but they mistakenly killed the wrong person. Armand Swart was not the guy who reported this corruption, but a colleague of his did. We don't know who that colleague is. But it just goes to show the length that the syndicate would go to in killing off anyone who would report and whistleblow these irregularities within state entities.
Oren, thank you very much. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, giving us an update there on witness A, who is currently testifying. Let's listen in now to what is happening there live.
It's later, but they are back in Johannesburg. This is happening in Johannesburg, this conversation, or the WhatsApp is being sent when Mr. Tau is in Johannesburg.
That is correct. Also, what we understood about this was that when they arrived at Musa's house in the morning, they switched their personal phones off and they left, which could then mean that their phones were left at Q. And then they went to Vereeniging and committed the crime and then came back, and that was only when their phone came back on again. And then maybe they were doing this so that they cannot be connected to a crime scene by their personal phones, which is why they were using the two burner phones that I spoke about earlier on. Because with them, there is information that we have that puts both of the phones in the vicinity of Vereeniging during the commission of crime, and there is also information that tells us they were communicating between themselves, these two burner phones.
Sure, it's the anatomy of an assassination that is being heard live at the Madlanga inquiry.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Well, a story that is linked is the fact that Vusi Kat Matlala, is currently appealing his bail decision. Remember, he was denied that appeal, so he's challenging a magistrate's court decision denying him bail, but the National Prosecuting Authority saying it will oppose or is opposing that appeal. He faces charges of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, money laundering relating to the 2023 shooting of his ex-girlfriend, actress and socialite Tebogo Tobajani on the N1 highway near Sandton. Another assassination. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, joining us now. Khomotso, good afternoon to you. Tell us about this matter in court today.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, the state has made two concessions today in the Johannesburg High Court. The first one was based on the schedule that Vusi Kat Matlala had been, or the schedule that was used in determining his bail outcome in the Alexandra Magistrates Court. You'll remember, Mandy, that in the Alexandra Magistrates Court, he was denied bail, and the court had found that he failed to prove exceptional circumstances for his release on bail. Now, that is a standard according to a Schedule 6 offense, when you are charged with a Schedule 6 offense. However, in the High Court, it's been established that he's actually facing a Schedule 5 offense, which is the attempted murder charge. It's actually 2 counts of attempted murder. Now, today in court, Vusimuzi Matlala's lawyer, Lawrence Hurtis, argued that his bail was considered based on Schedule 6 instead of Schedule 5, which means that it should have, the onus that he has to prove exceptional circumstances is lower than on a Schedule 6. And the state then conceded, saying, yes, this was the case, that in the Alexandra Magistrates Court, there was a misinterpretation of the schedule when determining his eligibility for bail. The second concession that was made by the state today, Mandy, in the Johannesburg High Court, was around the money that the state believes Vusimuzi Matlala paid one of the alleged hitmen. Part of the state's evidence, Mandy, is that Matlala paid the hitman after he had carried out or tried to carry out the hit on Tebogo Tobejane. And the state argued that there's a clear trail that shows the money being deposited in the alleged hitman's daughter's account and then the money making its way to the man. His name is Mabusela. Now, today, Lawrence Hurtis SC argued in court that it's clear that the money had been paid after Mabusela's mother had passed away, and that was because it was money to help with funeral preparations. Initially, Mandy, the state had argued that no, they had evidence that the money was paid prior, and they said there's no way that it could have been used for funeral preparations because Mabusela's mother had not passed away. But today, the state conceding that they had got it wrong, the detectives got it wrong, the money had in fact been paid after Mabusela's mother had passed away. And so Matlala's lawyers have used that to argue, to show that that money was not for a hit, it was merely money to help prepare for the funeral.
Khomotso, thank you very much. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, giving us an update there on that attempt by Vusimuzi Matlala to appeal the bail decision. So our top 2 stories are about targeted assassinations. Our third story is also about a targeted assassination. And you know that tells you a real story about South Africa. After the break, when we come back, we'll find out about the murder of the Kuruleni auditor, Mpho Mafole, and what he was busy with in the days leading up to that hit. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Josie, my Josie. A city made of swag, passion and resilience. Over here, we rise with the sun, Namateksi. We are a city of doers, creators, and believers. When we unite, yonke into yahlangana. From corner offices to corner veggie stalls or corner pre-chat and receipt. Josie, my Josie. A city where even those who were not born here are made here. Yabona la, citizenship is awarded to the curious. There's magic and beauty in our city. So we call on everyone to come experience it. Babiza bonke to come see Josie and all its people. Because this city is all of us. Come witness our citizens do it. Babiza bonke to come see the actions of the invisibles. Those building our city from the ground up. So we have a home we can all proudly call Josie, my Josie. Visit josiemyjosie.com to see how Josie does it.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a work commuter. She's done this route 1,000 times. Perhaps she's daydreaming of a different job or just counting down to the weekend. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just another car in traffic. It's anticipation on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
And now it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
You're listening to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. A report today in News 24 shedding more light on the death of Ekurhuleni Auditor Mpho Mafole, his assassination taking place in June this year. And this is obviously extremely concerning. I speak about this often, the rise in targeted assassinations. And when you see auditors being killed in what was quite evidently a hit, that's when you really, really need to worry. So News 24 has been digging to find out why Mpho Mafole was killed. And it seems it all has to do with a investigation into toilets in Ekurhuleni. Sikunati Manchanja, News 24 journalist, is one of the authors of that story and joins us now. Sikunati, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. You now have a better understanding of why the chief auditor in Ekurhuleni, Mpho Mafole, was killed. What was the reason?
Mandy, good afternoon. We are not exactly in a position to pronounce why he was killed, but we have been able to piece together what Mr. Mafole worked on in the months and particularly in his last week alive, and that was auditing the chemical toilets tenders, those mobile toilets that are supplied to squatter camps and places where there is no sanitation infrastructure. He was asked to audit that contract, which went to 15 different companies for the next 3 years to June 2028. It's a lucrative business for entrepreneurs where they have to supply these mobile toilets and get paid for it. So there were 228 companies that applied or tendered, and only 15 were chosen. Mpho Mafole was requested by the chief auditor of Ekurhuleni to check whether the municipality had fairly conducted its business in choosing the winners and discarding those that it did not want to give the tender to. And he provided that audit report, and 3 days later he was murdered.
That timeline, Sikunati, is important. Talk us through the timeline of when he was requested, when he submitted the report, and when he was killed.
Mandy, on the 20th of June 2025, the Group Chief Financial Officer of the municipality, Kagiso Lehuta, who is also acting as the city manager, requested an audit be conducted so that the municipality can confirm the winners and write letters to award these tenders. When Mafole received that request, he got on together with his team of 4 other auditors, and they worked 6 days later. They had produced an internal audit report and gave it to their boss, Philip Rahwale, and say, there are serious irregularities here, and you have exposed the municipality to possible legal action, and you have exposed the municipality to possible irregular expenditure, but also, most importantly, you probably have exposed the municipality you've disabled the municipality from actually being able to provide these services, because it will be derailed by the litigation and any other action that the losing bidders might consider. This report is submitted a week later on the 26th of June 2025, and as I said, 4 days later he was murdered.
And Sikunati, do we know whether police are making progress with the investigation into this case? Is this something that you're aware that they may be looking at as a potential motive?
Mandy, I wouldn't be qualified to comment what the police are looking at or not. What I do know is that there is currently one person that was arrested for the murder, and this is one of the alleged assassins. He is applying for bail on the 31st of October this year. So this is one of the alleged hitmen. The police have already publicized the name of another person that they are looking for. So at this point, what we know before the courts is that the police are looking at the alleged hitmen. I don't know if they are already looking at the motive for the murder.
Sikonati, thank you so much. Important work and an important story. Sikonati Manchancha, News 24 journalist, speaking to us there about the murder, the assassination of the chief auditor in Ekurhuleni, Mpho Mafole. Very interesting story in News 24, looking at the work that he was doing in the days leading up to his death, relating to a 1.8 million rand mobile chemical toilet contract.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
So, Mandy, just listening to this Arman Swart story, so it means that even people at Eskom, look, we obviously know this, but I mean, for the fact that this thing went through a corruption hotline, how are these people then vetted that works in these hotlines, given that this thing is obviously done anonymously? How does that information then filter through to these criminals? So someone at Eskom had to pull that information and then pass it on to the criminals. Yeah, this is very encouraging for us. Panin Prakpan.
You know those finfluencers, the kind of bros making bank in Bali, calling themselves Forex gurus, promising you can make money while you sleep if you just buy their course. But then you end up losing sleep, waking up for different market openings, checking charts, scanning the members-only group chat for signals, and you start wondering, why do they call it day trading when you're spending all night spending your money to make money, only to realize that they make their money selling courses on how to make money? Oh. When you can't trust overnight wins, trust 30 years of market-beating returns.
Coronation. Trust is earned. Coronation is an authorized FSP.
If this ad caught your ear, imagine what Prime Media can do for your business. With South Africa's leading media company, your message reaches the right audiences across radio, digital audio, video, and display. The Prime Impact Sales event is coming to Joburg 3 to 7 November and Cape Town 10 to 13 November. Register today for a free demo commercial, a custom campaign, and unbeatable annual partnerships. Seats are limited. Secure yours now at primeimpact.co.za.
The future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. Join 702 Drive with John Perlman today from 3 p.m. for a conversation with Mr. Andile Africa, CEO of the Automotive Industry Development Centre, as he unpacks how Gauteng is leading Africa's green automotive revolution. With the NEV Summit 2025 kicking off this Wednesday and Thursday, find out how innovation in new energy vehicles is creating jobs, building industries, and driving a more sustainable future. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy. On 702, let's walk the talk. .30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Rescue divers are gearing up for the next round of search efforts at the West Dean Dam in Johannesburg this afternoon. Joburg emergency teams have been searching for a missing person who is believed to have drowned in the dam at the weekend. It's understood that a fisherman saw what he believed to be a body floating in the water on Saturday. Screen grabs of CCTV footage showing the vehicles used by those allegedly involved in the murder of Vereniging engineer Arman Swart have been presented as evidence at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Witness A, a member of Gauteng's organised crime unit, presented the evidence this morning while testifying partially in camera. Due to risks posed to his safety, witness A is currently testifying from a safe house at an undisclosed location. And the Johannesburg High Court has heard that the Magistrates Court, which denied alleged crime kingpin Vusumuzi Matlala bail, incorrectly interpreted the nature of the charges against him. Matlala has escalated his bid for bail to the High Court. He is facing attempted murder charges for allegedly calling a hit on his socialite girlfriend Tebogo Tobejane. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday, at 1 rather, or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. We start in Rawalpindi, where it's day one of the second test and Pakistan are batting first against South Africa. They're currently at the crease on 206 for the loss of 3. Masood on 86 alongside Shakil on 26 are batting, while Simon Harmer has so far claimed 2 wickets for 74 runs. Switching over to rugby, where Zachary Porton has earned his first Springbok call-up, having been named in the 36-man squad for the tour in November. Ben Jason Dixon, Johan Grobler and Gerard Steenkamp will make their first appearances for the team this season, while Jean-Claude Kurtley, Aronsa and Edwin van der Merwe are all back from injury. The Boks will face Japan, France, Italy, Ireland and Wales over the 5 weeks in November. In the Premier League, Manchester United won back-to-back games under Ruben Amorim for the first time following their 2-1 success over Liverpool. The victory sees United in their 9-year winless drought at Anfield, while they're now just 2 points behind the Reds in the standings.
Today was perfect. Let's try to do that in the next week. That is really important. I think was really important for our fans because they are struggling. They struggle against Greensby, they struggle against Brentford, and today they saw a different team. And that is really important to come here to the stadium with the champion, biggest rival, to sing during the game. That is massive for us. So this win is for them.
And Red Bull's Max Verstappen dominated the US Grand Prix from pole position to cut Oscar Piastri's championship lead after he finished 5th. In the standings, Piastri now leads Lando Norris by 14 points with 5 rounds and 2 sprints remaining. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards Midrand Roadworks, still slowing down traffic. This is leaving Alex N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Between Change. Also slow-moving traffic that's heading into Bedfordview on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gililis Interchange. If you're leaving the Joburg CBD, traffic sluggish. M2 westbound between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road and in the Mother City. We still have slow-moving traffic. This is due to roadworks on Selari's Pass, outgoing approaching the Horseshoe Bend. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
The future of mobility is here, and it's powered by clean energy. Join business leaders, policymakers, and innovators at the NEV Summit 2025, taking place on 22 and 23 October. Together, we're driving Africa's green industrial revolution, building new industries, creating jobs, and positioning Gauteng as the hub of sustainable mobility. Visit evsummit2025.co.za to learn more. The NEV Summit 2025, driving Gauteng towards a green automotive economy.
Breathe in, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. In, insurance. Breathe out, pineapple. Again, in, insurance. Out, pineapple. Again and again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072-702-1702.
Wendy, afternoon, Wendy. You know, these people, they work in the companies. Normally, if some auditor, they came or something is coming out there, there's a people who tipping people. Same like here, Captain Park. The Captain Park, they can send, they're going to do operation maybe tomorrow or which date or on Friday. All Friday in the morning, the whole shops, the one for Pakistan, Somalia, they'll be closed. There is someone who taking information out. Guys, don't open the shop. They will come and operate it there. So sometimes you'll be surprised when you wake up in the morning, driving to work. The shops, they are closed. But other things, the shop, they're open by 6 o'clock. So when you see the shop is closing, you know, it's the operation there. There's someone in the police station telling these people, please don't open the shops. The operation is coming.
Afternoon, Mandy. I am so confused. If the state cannot get the bail case correct, or the details of the base of the
Yeah, I hear you. The frustration with the bail application matter in the Vusi Kat Matlala case. Let's hope that with all of these targeted assassinations, everything we're hearing out of the police inquiry, that if we don't get those cases right in the court of law, that is going to even further erode the public confidence in law enforcement and the criminal justice system. It's one thing to hear about it in the inquiries. It's another thing to actually get those convictions in the court of law.
702.
702.
Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
The Democratic Alliance making what it's called an important announcement about BEE earlier today. It's launched a bill to replace BEE with inclusive procurement regime in the Economic Inclusion for All bill. Well, let's find out more about the Economic Inclusion for All bill. We're joined by Matt Cuthbert, the DA Head of Policy. Matt, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Good afternoon, Mandy, and thank you for having me on your show, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Tell us about the Economic Inclusion for All bill.
So fundamentally, the Economic Inclusion for All bill seeks to break away from failed transformation policies that have been implemented by the ANC over the past 23 years, which have enriched politically connected cadres at the expense of the vast majority of South Africans. Despite this BEE policy having claims to purport and represent Black South Africans are fundamentally worse off when it comes to unemployment numbers, when it comes to poverty numbers, and we're also well versed in the fact that South Africa is also one of the most highly unequal places in the world. And what we seek to do as the DA is depart from race-based empowerment and rather focus on poverty as the proxy for disadvantage. And we aim to do this through several different ways. We've taken the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as a framework, and we've linked it to 5 key areas which we think can uplift South Africans, provide them with opportunity, and ultimately create a more inclusive South Africa. These things include human development activities such as feeding schemes, scholarships, and early child development, economic empowerment activities, including local hiring, small business development, and women's empowerment initiatives, environmental sustainability projects, such as renewable energy, recycling and reforestation investments, and then also inclusive community and governance initiatives such as setting up legal aid centers, urban greening and NGO partnerships. And basically what companies who do business with the state will be measured on is 80%, number one, focusing on value for money procurement, and 20% economic inclusion to make sure that the communities in which they operate feel true social investment and impact through doing business with the state.
So the bill, as you've explained, intends to repeal all race-based preferential procurement provisions, as you say, replace them with a system that targets poverty as the proxy for disadvantage instead of race. So is there any acknowledgement of race at all in any of your plans?
Well, I think most fundamentally in our statement this morning, as well as in our documentation, we acknowledge the painful past that we as a country went through, and we understand that this has not been redressed in the way that it should. And fundamentally, our policy by targeting poverty as a proxy for disadvantage will not exclude anyone on the basis of their race, but at the same time cater for the vast majority of South Africans who do find themselves in poverty and happen to be Black, coloured and Indian. So in this way, we are not excluding anyone, but rather providing an opportunity for anybody who finds themselves in difficult living circumstances to be able to be uplifted through this policy.
The DA is, of course, a member of the government of national unity. You've called on the ANC to support this and put people before cadres. How much buy-in is there from the ANC on this, and have you had a discussion with them about it?
So this is the initial announcement of the bill itself. It is still going to be introduced through a first reading debate into Parliament. We're obviously an independent party, and therefore we develop our own policy, and this is something that we will obviously discuss with the ANC in Cabinet as well as in Parliament itself. And fundamentally, it's about saying that enough is enough. We're tired of enriching cadres over that of the people. And I think that public opinion has shifted specifically on BEE policy over time, and the ANC are ultimately going to have to account to their voters if they don't get behind this progressive legislation that we are proposing. And I think fundamentally, and this is what we as the DA are consistent in doing, is saying we understand we're in coalition agreement with the ANC and national government, but that doesn't mean we need to agree with them all the time. Fundamentally, we are here to represent the interests of voters, and we need to make sure that we call for the policy changes that are required in order to create an inclusive South Africa.
Matt, thank you very much. Matt Cuthbert, DA Head of Policy, speaking to us there about this proposal by the Democratic Alliance. They've launched a bill to replace BEE with an inclusive procurement regime. It's the Economic Inclusion for All bill. And I think that the fundamental thing there is it's looking at poverty as a proxy for race. Interestingly, the ANC, of course, releasing its economic plan just a couple of weeks ago after that special NEC meeting, which clearly still backs the BEE policy, which was first introduced in 2003. So here you have two partners in the government of national unity with fundamental differences when it comes to economic policy. Will there be some kind of a discussion around this? And let's hope we don't have another situation like we did around the budget.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
12:43 on the Midday Report. We're going to speak about severe thunderstorm warnings in Johannesburg and what has been a real shift in the weather. But firstly, we're going to start with that lead story in Eyewitness News, where there is a search underway for a suspected missing person at Westdene Dam. Tando Ngobo is there for us, EWN reporter. Tando, good afternoon to you. Tell us what's happening there. If I understood correctly, are we sure that there is somebody missing?
Hi, Mandy. So police are positively sure that there is someone who's missing. So we understand at the moment that a man who was fishing yesterday, he saw a body, what he believes to be a body floating in the dam. And locals say that they saw a man come into the dam, but they never saw him leaving. And we understand that this missing person's family had reported a case of a missing person at police. And so when the fisherman who was fishing yesterday reported to authorities that he's seeing what is seemingly looking like a body floating in the dam, authorities began the search. However, yesterday they came up short. They didn't find the body, but they did find a bag. And we understand that the family positively identified the bag to belong to the missing family member. And so the search operation resumed this morning, but it's proving to be slightly difficult due to the bad weather conditions, Mandy. We understand that, we know that yesterday and over the past couple of days it's been raining heavily in Johannesburg. The dam is full, and so it's making the operation slightly difficult. But earlier, the police's water unit, they did come in with the boat and along with their K9, and they were searching along the bushy area perimeter of the dam. And now the divers are inside the dam continuing with the search, Mandy.
So that search still continuing then?
Yes. Still continuing.
Tando, thank you very much. Tando Ngobo, EWN reporter at Westdene Dam, where emergency services are continuing to carry out that search. And this is as the South African Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Joburg, with rain still falling across most parts of the city. Let's find out about what is happening with the weather. Tokelo Chiluane, senior forecaster at the South African Weather Service, joining us now. Tokelo, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Severe thunderstorm warning. Tell us about that.
Good day and good day to your listeners. Yes, the South African Weather Service, we did issue a severe thunderstorm warning. However, it was for yesterday. For today, we don't have much in terms of warning. However, we do have a continuous rainfall from isolated storms there and there, with a 60% chance of rainfall across the province for today. And as you've mentioned, it will continue to rain up until the end of the day, and we'll start to see an easy up of rainfall from tomorrow onwards.
And this is normal, I imagine, for this time of year, this degree of rainfall?
Definitely. I think especially most of the localized flooding that we are seeing is because the surface is still a bit dry. It hasn't been raining for a long time. So any amount of rainfall for now, it will take time to be absorbed by the ground. So we'll start to see a lot of localized flooding here and there. But it will ease up as the summer goes in, but gets worse as the summer concludes.
Tukelo, thank you so much. Tukelo Chilwane, senior forecaster at the South African Weather Service, speaking to us there about the rainfall in Johannesburg. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Mom, Dad, you're not going to believe this.
What's up, bud?
Luke's family has a kitchen.
Okay.
Like a real one, with knives and a sink for dishes. His mom was just standing there, making food with her hands. There was a fridge full of vegetables, even broccoli.
Not broccoli.
Oh, the horror. Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai-way.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a couple stealing glances at each other. In a week, their lives will change forever as they exchange their I-do's. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hello, Mandy. I've just received this BEE talk by the Democratic Alliance on my WhatsApp group. And I really pray that they have success like they had success with the budget, because I am a living example of the tragedy that the BEE concept has caused my family. I'm 70 years old. I'm working at a low-end job, and I'm sitting with two graduates, Mandy. I'm 70 years old, and our family has been decimated by BEE. This is Cynthia.
Thank you very much. Interesting reaction there to the DA's proposal around BEE and the alternative that they are putting forward. Thank you very much for that WhatsApp voice note.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
An interesting story in City Press newspaper yesterday about how Safa, the football authority, is now looking at cutting salaries by 25% to stave off liquidation. The cuts will affect employees earning more than 600,000 Rand a year. Provincial executive officers facing drastic reductions. And we know that Safa has been facing financial issues, concerns around liquidation. The journalist on that story, Tisetso Malepa, sports journalist at City Press, joining us now. Tisetso, good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. What is the current financial status of Safa?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Good afternoon to the listeners. Maybe to give you a one-word answer, dire.
Dire. So what are they resorting to? What are the options that they're looking at?
Well, as we said in our story, you know, top of the list is cutting off salaries of those who are earning more than 600,000 a year. The aim there is looking at reducing the association's salary bill to just below 35 million from the current 45 million.
One of the people who could see a cut in salary is the Bafana coach Hugo Broos. Not exactly a good reward for qualifying for a World Cup.
Well, Hugo Broos is also one of the employees. However, as we said in the article, he is unlikely In fact, he will not be affected because he has already indicated that he's going to retire after Bafana Bafana's participation at the World Cup. So, except for Bruce, everyone else who earns more than 600,000 a year will be affected. So it's just it is what it is. But yeah, as we said in the article, it is important to know that Bafana Bafana coach will not be affected.
Tiseto, remind us how Safa got into this position.
Well, it has been building for years. It has started with the association losing sponsors, and those that they still hang on to, renewed on reduced terms, and over the years, the financial situation has been building up, and over the past 4 years, to be exact, it has been particularly severe. So hopefully, it is a situation where something had to be done, and according to the recommendations of the Finance Committee, the measures of cutting salaries and other measures that were mentioned in the article, it's something that it was a must. They cannot go on like this for the next year or so and still be above water.
How much of this has to do with poor leadership? We know there are governance issues. The Safa president, Danny Jordan, and the CFO facing fraud charges. So how much of it has to do with just bad leadership?
Well, it has played a big factor. You will know that Safa consistently in the news mostly for the wrong reasons, and that affects that affects the reputation and image of the association in the eyes of the corporate world, and the reason for that is because of governance issues. If as an organization, if you are found wanting in terms of governance issues, then you are bound to lose money in terms of sponsorship. You are bound to lose commercial partnerships. You are bound to you're not making yourself attractive to the corporate world out there. So it is a combination of those things.
Tiseto, thank you so much. Tiseto Malepa, sports journalist at City Press, speaking to us there about Safa's financial issues.
Sports Wrap on 702 and Cape Talk.
A busy weekend of sport, lots to chat about. Mawanda Mateza joining us in studio. I didn't even wish Tolokele well done when she was here. Oh, gosh, I forgot.
Good afternoon, Mandy. I think we should begin with the Proteas women who made the semi-finals of the Women's Cricket World Cup following that victory over Sri Lanka on Friday, and then the match between New Zealand and Pakistan being washed out on Saturday. Boy, what a difference 2 weeks makes, because after that first game
was
against England with the 10-wicket defeat, we weren't rating their hopes of making it far in the tournament at all. And they've got 2 more games to go against Pakistan tomorrow and then against Australia as well, the final round-robin match before those semi-finals. So they've got a lot of time actually to work on what they need to work on before facing possibly England again in the semi-finals or Australia.
So when could that semi-final be?
It is next week.
Okay.
Next week. The semi-finals will be taking place for South Africa. South Africa is definitely in the semi-finals.
So we've qualified even though we still have 2 games to play.
Yeah. The last semi-final spot is going to be between India, New Zealand and Sri Lanka, who have an outside chance of making it, but possibly between India and New Zealand, who still have to play each other, I think, in the tournament.
And the Proteas are busy with a test.
Yeah, the Proteas are playing at the moment. They're in the second test against Pakistan. It hasn't gone all their way. And it's a little bit concerning for me as well, because the Proteas dropped couple of catches in the first hour of play, and they've dropped a couple since then as well. And at the moment, it does seem like Pakistan are clawing their way back. I think they were 200 odd for 4 going into the third session of the first day. And it's one of those things, again, in Pakistan, you're going to field a lot. So your fielding has to be on point, because I think the Pakistan batters on their surfaces as well will bat for days and days and days if they can, which was the case in the first match as well.
219 for 4.
219 for 4, yeah.
Then, of course, Manchester United beating Liverpool last night.
Yes, another case of wow, what a difference a month makes. Because a couple of months ago, or a month ago, when Liverpool had won 5 games in a row to open the league season with, we thought, okay, it's a foregone conclusion. They're taking the league title at a canter. And since then, they've lost 4 games, 3 in the league in a row, and 4 in all competitions. And people are starting to talk about, well, is this possibly a crisis at Liverpool? Because we haven't seen this from Onslaught and how he deals with a rut or a dip in form from his team. So it'll be very interesting as well. And I've seen people criticizing some of their new signings as well, and also some of their old heads in Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, who had terrible performances, to be very honest, yesterday. And as for Manchester United, I think this could be the start of something incredible. The optimist in me is thinking that it would be a fantastic story for Ruben Amorim to turn things around completely and to be something that is completely unrecognizable from his first season. I think that is still a possibility. It will be interesting to see how they go in their next coming games. I think they play Brighton over this weekend, and they have a game against Tottenham in the first weekend in November, or second weekend in November. So that's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the next couple of games, and before we can make a definitive conclusion on what Ruben Amorim actually is.
And I think the other big story is Ange Postecoglou.
What a surprise, isn't it?
I heard there was fisticuffs. Is that true?
I haven't heard that.
I heard that he and the owner had a bit of fisticuffs in the tunnel.
It wouldn't surprise me because it did threaten to get that way between the owner, Maranakis, as well as Nuno Espirito Santo before he was fired a little earlier this season. But yeah, a bit of a surprise that Ange Postecoglou, after 39 days in charge, got the axe at Nottingham Forest. But it also goes to show that sometimes as the owners, you don't know everything. And it seems like he wants to rule over his club with an iron fist, and it's not going to work.
And then Formula One in Texas yesterday. It's starting to heat up a little bit. Hey? Do you think McLaren could bottle this?
I would like to point out that a couple of weeks ago, I said the McLarens, having won the Constructors' Championship, need to decide who is the person that they're backing.
You also said Taylor Fritz would win a Grand Slam one day.
Well, I mean, he's not retired yet, so that's still a possibility. But I did say that Max Verstappen could possibly have an outside chance of coming back into the Drivers' Championship. And there's 40 points now between himself and Oscar Piastri with 5 races to go in the season. 141 points still at stake with the 2 sprint weekends still remaining as well. And having seen what McLaren did in the sprint race on Saturday, it's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to complete all the 5 races that are remaining and compete for all of those points. So it definitely does open the door for a Max Verstappen championship.
Well, one day?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Max could win the championship.
I'm open to that completely. It would be nice for one of the McLarens too, just for the sake of something new. But a 5th world championship is definitely on the offing for Max Verstappen.
Sure, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be interesting? Mwande, thank you so much. Mwande Mateza wrapping up the world of sport for us.
The Midday Report.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I think that there's going to be a big focus, of course, on what is happening at the Madlanga inquiry, where witness A is testifying today in camera from a safe house. We're also expecting witness B and C to testify partially in camera after witness A. Really, it is the stuff straight out of a crime fiction novel, but it's happening in reality. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Search operations still underway at the Westdean Dam, and the DA proposes a new economic empowerment bill. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Rescue divers are gearing up for the next round of search efforts at the Westdean Dam in Johannesburg. Joburg emergency teams have been searching